Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. I do want to ask, Hilary, a lot of what we're talking about right now is based around self-development, personal growth. I kind of want to hear your take on that. When did you kind of fall into that? How do you have this mindset that you have?
It's a tough question. I was always different. I don't know. I was different. I was different than my family. I felt like a little bit of a black sheep. I said there were a lot of like secrets that my family was keeping. And I'm sorry, my hair is crazy. There were a lot of secrets that my family was keeping, and I just never was okay with that. I don't know why. I don't know what made me that way. I can't pinpoint like one definitive moment in my life that was a major shift, but actually, wait, okay, I think that's not true. I can pinpoint a definitive moment. My grandmother died when I was 14, and she had cancer, and my mom like hid it from us a little bit. I didn't know how bad it was. I didn't know how sick she was. I didn't even really know what kind of cancer she had. And my grandmother also like had lost her hair and like wasn't well and like didn't really want us coming around to see her towards the end. So I never really got to say the goodbye I wish I had. Like it was like so long ago. I'm still upset about it. She was just such a special human. She was so important in my life, and I think losing her at 14, I was in ninth grade. I just started ninth grade. It was December of like my first year of high school, and I just remember thinking like all of this bullshit that like the high school is about, like none of it matters because this person I love is in a box in the ground. Like it really just shifted. Like I actually remembered like at the time I was having issues with my friends. Like I didn't think my friends were being good to me. And I decided after my grandmother's death, I would rather have no friends than have bad friends. And
Wow.
I stopped seeing my friends. I was kind of like solo for a few months and ended up finding it's kind of like this, I let go, trusting that nothing good ever, and I found my crew. I ended up going on to make great friends. My connections were meaningful, like it really injected, because I think also as a kid, we're talking about narcissists. Kids are like such narcissists. It's always all about them, and you have no sense of anything outside yourself. And losing my grandmother was such a wake-up call for me in so many different ways that there was no turning back from that. It's just like my eyes are open and I need to live with integrity and honesty and openness and authenticity, and life is too short. And yeah, there was just really no going back from there. And I remember I had like all these like inspirational quotes that I had put on my mirror, and yeah, and I kept a scrapbook, and I would keep all of like these quotes that I would find like in my scrapbook. And yeah, and the scrapbook actually it like kicked off around the time of my grandmother's death. Like that's when it started.
How old were you?
So I was 14. I was 14. She got sick right before I turned 14, and then she passed away when I was like later that year. It was quick.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm sorry for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Do you
if it weren't for that, like, that loss changed the entire trajectory of my whole life.
Yeah.
Right. And like, she's with me always. I was her only granddaughter. And, you know, it's funny. She always wore bright lipstick. She always had like crazy nail polish. She had like an armful of bangles and all this funky jewelry. And I'm a lot like her. And I don't know if it's inherited or it's because I just admired her so much that I've like adopted it. But my mom has like a very different style than my grandmother and I. Like I'm much more like her. And I inherited this big jewelry box that she had on her dresser, and like my engagement ring was actually hers.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I have like little pieces of her with me always, and I really do think that, I mean, her death was one of the worst things that ever happened to me, and it led to a lot of really good decisions that I made in my life. So she's helped me. She's like still helping me, you know, like she's always with me, and she's been helping guide me, I think, my whole life.
Love that. I love that. Absolutely. And, you know, speaking about, you know, legacy and stuff, I mean, that right there is absolutely beautiful. You know, the life that you fell into, that or not fell into, but that you worked towards, and the confidence that you have, you know, is stems from, you know, a lot that you took from her. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to have
Yes.
had her in my life. Even if it was only for 14 years, it was very impactful. So,
Yes, you can tell. You can tell. As far as, you know, one of the things that I like to talk about on this podcast is steps. You know, many times we get into difficult arenas and we know they're difficult. We're like, yeah, this job sucks. Yeah, my boss sucks.
been
Got
there.
it. Yeah. But like, I have bills to pay. Like, I have a family to take care of. I have a mortgage to pay. So, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's disturbing a large amount of my life and the hours of my life. But I don't even like, what do you want me to do? What? So, you know, one of the things that I would like to, you know, open up or talk to you about is like, how did you go from, you know, being in this situation that you were in to pivoting? As you said, you've pivoted a ton. Like,
Sure.
what, like obviously that takes confidence, obviously that takes courage, but like, you know, do you have like just an idea or a step in the right direction, some advice as far as getting somebody from one sect to the other? How did you do it?
So, I think a big part of it for me has always been like having a side hustle,
Wow.
because even when I was working in TV, like I look back on it now and I was like, I was always entrepreneurial. I just never knew how to like where to put that energy.
Yeah.
And like when I was working in TV, so the way that TV works is very few jobs are like, you know, working on like the Ellen show, where it's like every day you're going to the same office and it's happening year after year. Like it's very rare to find that in television. The more typical experience is to like work on a job for 3 months and then you're unemployed for a month and you're looking for another gig and then you get put on another show, or like you're, you know, working for like as a day player here and there. And it's very you got a lot of downtime. I mean, that's that's the best way I could put it. There was a lot of downtime. And also I always wanted like a more creative, like I just was always looking for like creative ways to use my time. And my first side hustle, this is when I was working at Colbert, I had this idea to like make canvas bags, reusable. This was in like 2007 probably. So this was before people were like really using canvas bags. And I had all these old t-shirts, and I like cut up these old t-shirts and like sewed the like t-shirts onto the bags. And I was like trying to sell the bags. That didn't really go very far, but you know, it was something to do with my time.
Yeah.
It was interesting to me. Then when I ended up at College Humor, I had met like a bunch of comedians who were like, would you produce this thing that we're doing on the side? And I was like, absolutely. And so then like my nights and weekends, I was with that. And like, I don't even know if I was getting paid. I mean, I think they were like buying us like beer and pizza. That was about it. But it was so fun. It was so fun to like be in it, and it made me feel good. And it just filled my cup in a way that like a 9 to 5 couldn't always do for me. And then when I moved to Philly and I was working at that nonprofit, it was actually only a part-time job. So I went through, um, uh, at the time it was Wharton. I think Drexel does it now, but there's a small business development center. I think they're everywhere. Like every state should have a school that does this, and you can go, and it's like through their business school, but it is dirt cheap. I mean, not dirt cheap, but it's very cheap. It's not like going to business school. It is a very small investment. And I did a 6-week course where I went through, like I learned how to launch a business, and I had a marketing plan, and like I had access to these Wharton professors and grad students who listened to me and were like, yeah, no, you have something there. Like, this is a good idea. Or, oh, you know, maybe you should tweak this to do this and this and this. And that started to give me the confidence of like, I could do this. Like, I think I could do this. And I never fully got that off the ground, but that was ultimately the first iteration of my business.
Yeah.
At the time, it was going to be similar to what I'm doing, but only geared towards nonprofits. I never really got that off the ground. And then I got hired by the medical device company. But even when I was there, like I took side writing gigs. Like I, you know, would write articles for other outlets, and you know, there was always something I kind of had on the side that when I was ready to do my own thing, I felt confident, like, okay, now I kind of have a portfolio of work to show for it. I built a very basic website in Wix, and like the first like it doesn't have to be perfect. I think that is a big step to understand too. You don't have to wait for it to be perfect. You just have to do it.
Yep.
And when you do it, you'll start to see, it's like if you build it, they will come. You just have to take that first step in the right direction, or in a direction to move forward. You can't just stay still and expect things to fall in your lap. You know, you can't expect change if you're not doing anything to change your life.
Yep.
So I'm a big fan of the side hustle and then taking it full time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm the exact same. I've always got something brewing on the side.
Yeah.
I drive my fiance crazy sometimes. He'll come home from work and I'll be like, listen, I have this idea. He's just like, what?
And my husband's like, what? Not another one. Oh God.
So now I've had to, now I really do though. I have so much going on. So now I always preface with, I have this great idea. Not that I'm going to do it right now, but I'm writing it down in my journal.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. A lot of my clients that I work with, especially who are like closer to the startup stage, they get very overwhelmed because they have so many good ideas, and then they don't know how to execute. Like they get paralyzed by like what to do next. They don't know how to execute on any of them because it's just too much. And I actually recommend having them create a now and later list. So like, what do you need to do now to achieve these specific goals that you want to achieve now? And then what's a good idea for later? Like it won't get you to your goal now, but it's a good idea and you want to put it somewhere to use it when you have time and like you've already achieved these goals. And then you can move that into the now column and keep like your new ideas
Yes.
in the later column.
Yes, I love that. Good advice. For those listening, I hope you took notes on that.
Yeah,
That's
now and later
great.
list.
Yes, that's great.